Hello and welcome to the video. In this video I'm going to be showing you quickly and easily how to do seat straps for a jet ski, the DIY method, for about half the cost of what most people charge online to buy these seat straps. There is some expense involved, and that is really in getting the stainless steel fittings. However, the straps themselves are super cheap, so what I bought is luggage straps. These luggage straps are just off AliExpress. They cost about £5 each. Now they're not the strongest, they are plastic. However, strength in numbers. By adding a few of these, the ski will have the strength, and they're not under crazy pressure. I've put quite a lot of pressure on them, they haven't broken, so let's try them out, see how they go. And when there's 3 or 4 of them, plus the seat strap is only a backup system for holding the seat down. So the seat is already held down by its own clip, so I don't think they're going to come under that much pressure that would break them. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to put the seat on, and we're going to mark out where we want them, and then I'm going to run through the different fittings and equipment I've purchased to attach them to the ski. This ski is currently undergoing some heavy maintenance, but the model is a Yamaha VX110. I've removed the top lid, but I'm just going to place it down to see roughly where we can put the straps and where they could be a problem. Okay, now put the seat on. Normally this is all on your ski, so don't worry about that. I'm just going to put the seat on now, make sure the seat's on, because that's how we're going to mark them out. So now the seat is on and the cover is where it should be. We can clearly see how to attach the ski straps and where they're going to be placed. So the first one is going to be roughly around here, it's going to be right over here. So essentially the goal here is to create rigidity in the seat if the ski flips. So the main points we want to put it is not the area where you sit here, but the top in front of where you sit, which is going to be between your knees. So I reckon this is a good spot, but if you pull it, it comes at a bit of an angle, so I'm going to bring it down and mark it with a pencil roughly where that goes. The third one, we're actually going to be opening up the bolts of the handle, and we're going to be tucking it underneath and putting it through one of the main bolts. So that's the one we can start with. For this, you're going to want a size 12 on both sides. It's just a bolt with a nut on the other side. You only need to remove these two. Just loosen these so that you can lift it up to get the material underneath the edge. Feed them through, make sure they're central on the hole. Now we're just going to replace the seat and see roughly where they're going to go. Okay, I think I've lined them up well enough. Now it's time to cut them. Now the material is doubled in this section, so it's going to be a little bit stronger. And I'm going to show you a trick to get the hole through there and mark it. So I just heated an Allen key. I just heated it on the gas hob, so it'll cut right through. And that's gone through perfectly. Give it a wiggle. The next thing to do is just mark roughly here where you want to cut it. I'm just going to cut it at an angle. So now I have that cut at an angle for the far side and this cut at an angle for the near side. So we're just going to replace them back under the holes now and get the bolts through. To get it through, you might just have to give it a few turns. There we go. The next thing to do before screwing them tight is just return the seat and check the alignment. Happy with the alignment there, make sure they're good and tight, but this is loosened just so you can pull the ends and make sure that's good. Now it's just a case of tightening the bolts in place. Now check the alignment with the seat again. Now I've tightened the strap. It's good and secure. This is not the strongest single strap in the world, but when we add the two others, it's going to become a lot stronger. The next ones to do are going to be here and here. I've marked them with a pencil, which you can't see on the video, but basically the way we're going to secure these is with two M5 bolts. So on the M5 bolt, I'm also going to add an M5 washer and an M6 washer behind it, so it's packing it nicely against the material. The next thing to do is to mark the holes and drill through. Now I have the holes marked. I'm going to take a piece of wood and put it behind the fiberglass on the inside. This is important to stop splintering. Clean cut holes. Now I'm just going to take the strap, place it on and see roughly how much distance I want between the end of the strap and the bottom of that. I reckon that is enough. So I'm going to mark it, that line there, but I'm also then going to fold it over because it's going to be double pinned. When I cut it, it'll have the screws going through 2 layers of fabric. Just going to take a marking here of the distance between the holes, and then I'm going to fold this over and inside the workshop melt 2 holes for the bolts to go through. Just heating the tip of the screwdriver here, and then we're going to just punch 2 holes through. So I've got my guide on the width of the holes, and I'm just going to put them central after the fold, and I also know that the fold was that much. Perfect. Now we've cut the holes, just using a hot screwdriver, you can put the bolts through. For the bolts, we're just going to be using an M5 bolt with an M5 washer and an M6 washer behind it to spread it slightly. Just put those through and lightly put a nut on the other side just to hold it. I'm just going to really secure the seat and see how they sit. Nice, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with the distance here as well. So now we're going to go to the other side and we're going to draw the line over and mark where we're going to cut them. So now we're on the other side, we're just going to pull them over, make sure they're evenly placed over the top. I did take a measurement from the other side from the tip just to see how far it comes through. It's 10.5 inches. So I can see now, by lining that up, where they need to be. Draw those lines. So all we're drawing here are the side lines. Don't worry about the bottom line yet. The same thing on this one. I've just measured back from this parallel, and it's 12 with a little gap here, so just look at that measurement here. Now we're going to just take a measurement from the top of this edge here to the center of that screw, and I can see it's roughly 4.5, 5.5, down 5.5, just where I marked it. Just a visual alignment. Now we're going to do the same thing and mark with our gauge the same distance and drill those holes with a piece of wood on the back. So now I've put the straps back over the seat. I've marked the distance between the bolt and where the fold of the strap was to come back. I've got it here on this little piece of paper. So I'm going to put that down, mark that, get the fold over, came back in there, and I'm just going to cut the strap there. Save time on the next one. Just mark the distance from the end to the hole and you'll know how much to cut. So this is actually the exact length of that block. Next thing to do is just unclip the ends, fold over the tips and make the holes just like on the last set. So now we're ready to put the next bolts in. The final stage is to talk about sealant and thread lock. So on the inside, we're going to be putting a single washer next to the nut. Unfortunately for these, I don't have 9-lock nuts, but I don't think it's needed because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying some Tech 7, which is a sealant and bond solution around this before we push it into the hole behind the fabric. So that'll seal the hole to waterproof it. And then we're going to be adding red thread lock to the nut so that it's nice and tight and it's not going to come off with the vibrations. And then I'm going to hand tighten all of them, double check them all around and do the final clips and tensions. So yeah, let's do it. So I have yet to put in the washers and seal them, which I'll show you in a second, but just final inspection before we apply the glue. Happy with the layout of where the straps are. I haven't tensioned them yet, but they will be good. Finally, just before we start sealing them, I'm just going to take the marks of the pencil off to keep the ski looking super fresh. I've got some rust remover spray, won't need much. Okay, now we're ready to glue it. So first thing first we're going to do is we have everything ready to go to put through. We're just going to put a little bit of sealant around these threads, the base of them. So I've just applied some sealant on the inside there and put the washers on over it, so now the holes are sealed. It's going to apply a little bit of thread lock to the nut. And now that goes on behind it. My advice is to tighten the nuts on the inside, not the bolts on the outside, because the bolts on the outside will twist the fabric. A little bit of sealant came through on the outside, but that's fine. You can just wipe that off with a rag. Perfect. You can see how tight they are. They're not crazy, and tension can be applied without pulling it through. So there you have it, some DIY jet ski straps. They're not crazy tight, they're there to secure the seat in case the ski is rolled. They don't need to be held with straps for handles and to be extremely strong. They're just as a backup, and the strength is in numbers because there's 3, they're strong together. Hope this video helped you out and provided you some insight on how to do things cheaper with your ski for surf rescue. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and yeah, I'll have a few more videos up. I'll be doing one on the front hood straps next, so stay tuned.